Welcome back, guys. It's time for a nooner here, and I figured I'd just come sit by the fire and talk with you about something I haven't really talked about yet. Now, before we get started with that, this is a nooner video. If you're not familiar with a nooner video, I'm sure you are by now, but it's where we get the conversation going in the comments section. I read all the comments in the comments section. If I don't reply to them, I'll at least try to put a little heart there so you know I saw it. Doesn't mean I always agree with you just because I put a heart next to it, but just to let you know that I did see it. But what are we going to talk about today? Well, I'm going to talk about something I don't think I've done a video on this channel, which is kind of surprising. The Star Wars radio drama. They did one for Star Wars and Empire when I was growing up. And before you say, hey, Junkman, they did one for Return of the Jedi also. Return of the Jedi one was done in the 90s, years later. And I didn't even know they did that until, probably years after they did it. And did you know that John Lithgow, or Lithgow, the great Dick Solomon from Third Rock from the Sun. Man, I've been rewatching that. That show is great. Have you ever seen Third Rock from the Sun? I don't know why it doesn't get more love. I love that show. But everybody knows John Lithgow. He was in Cliffhanger, The World According to Garp. He's been in a lot of stuff. Did you know he did the voice of Yoda in the Return of the Jedi radio drama? That's something, a little fun fact for you there. And one of the stars from Riptide, I love Riptide, Perry King. I think it was Perry King, or was it the other one? Or the Joe Perry? I think it was Perry King. Did Han Solo in the original Star Wars drama. But I'm getting off base here. I'm not going to. This isn't about the making of or anything. It's more about my memory of those radio dramas and seeing what you guys think about it. Now, I didn't know anything. Oh, let me start. But let me go back. Some reason, even at a young age, I was fascinated by the radio. I had a boombox. We all had boom boxes in the 80s. It wasn't one of those. It was one you put on your shoulder, but it was one kind of make you look kind of like a wuss or something. It was really small. It wasn't as big. Probably like this. Well, I had 2 tape decks on it though, so I thought it was pretty cool because I could dub. Not only could I dub cassette tapes, I could dub them in high speed dubbing right there. Well, actually, I think that came a little later, so I'm getting ahead of myself. I had another little portable radio that was my dad that he gave me. I think he upgraded, and this radio was awesome. It had a dial. Don't you miss a dial on a radio where you could fine tune it into that station you want to listen to? And I remember it had AM, FM. It had 2 different FMs. I don't know why. It had a UHF on it. It had, it had a ham radio. It had all kinds of stuff on it. And I can remember I always put it on AM usually, and dial that little knob until I found some radio station I could find them miles away, even in other states. And it was before the internet, so anything outside my little radius was wild. And I can remember laying in my bed, probably 8, maybe up to 10, maybe a little older than that, listening to the radio. I just loved listening to the radio. I can remember being young. I'm talking 10, maybe even younger, laying in my bed late at night, like 2 in the morning. Well, maybe not that late. I was probably asleep, but it was late. Tuning in, Larry King doing interviews with people I've never even heard of. And I can still remember that intro guy talking about the Peabody Award-winning Larry King. That just brings back memories just saying that. It's that voice right there, the guy whoever did the opening to Larry King. Now, this was before he even had his talk show on CNN when he was still on the radio. And again, I didn't know none of these people he talked to, but I just loved. It was live, and just thinking this man far away in some New York City or something in this little studio talking. I'm listening to him. It was great. And then growing up on country music as I did, I could tune in if I got lucky, get WSM radio out of Nashville, and hear the Grand Ole Opry. Anybody who grew up on country music knows the Grand Ole Opry. So you could tune that in, and it was a live concert right there in your room. It was amazing. And I'm not into sports. I'm not into sports, but I would tune that dial to a local station and pick up probably the Atlanta Braves or some other baseball game. I don't remember listening to football or soccer or anything, but I think because I can follow baseball. Everything I know what's going on with baseball when I watch it. So I can remember listening to that, hearing that bat hit that ball and everything. And then into the 90s, I still loved my radio where I would lay up all night, even though I had a job and had to get up in the morning. I would be up all night listening to Art Bell. Oh, I loved the Art Bell radio show. I can remember I took a job, this was right after school, after I graduated from school, and I would be working nights from like 11:30 at night till I don't know, 4 in the morning or something. And I took that because there was no bosses there, and I could listen to Art Bell. I had a little headpiece, then we had wires on it and everything. I could listen to Art Bell while I worked. And I was like, I can't believe I'm getting paid and I get to listen to Art Bell. So that was really good. But let's get back, before I get way off topic here, to the public Star Wars radio drama. Now this takes you back to, this was in vein with those old serials, old radio shows from, I guess, the 30s, when they used to do shows on the radio. Now that was way before my time. So my introduction to hearing Star Wars on the radio, that was, this is the first time I heard anything like that. Of course, I knew they did that. Now I can remember laying in my bed, listening. At least this is how I remember it. Your memory gets a little fuzzy. Going through that dial and hearing Star Wars, sounds of Star Wars. I can remember like, oh my God, hold on, is that Star Wars? I didn't know anything about the radio drama. I didn't know it was coming out. I didn't know, I didn't know anything. I didn't follow the press on it. And I was like, wait a minute. I started listening. I could hear these voices sound like Luke, and I knew when I heard 3PO, that's Anthony Daniels. He did the voice. And I can remember hearing all these voices from Star Wars, and now lay there. Now I think they did it probably in parts, and I lay there, what seemed like I lay there all night listening to that and loving it. I mean, this is, I really have to put you in the mind frame if you didn't grow up in the original Star Wars time period. You didn't have Star Wars on VHS. You didn't have Star Wars. You couldn't just hit a button on your internet and watch Star Wars. So it was, even if you saw a little clip on a commercial, or if you saw a little clip of Star Wars and maybe some making of special, it was like, whoa, you just wanted to capture that feeling. So laying there in that bed with my eyes closed, hearing the Star Wars, the sounds of Star Wars, the ships, the music, the special effects, the actors talking, it put me in Star Wars right there, and I fell in love with that. And I can remember laying there listening to it. And the bad thing is, I didn't really know when it was going to come on. I didn't know nothing about it. I couldn't go on the internet and search to find out what this was. And for years after hearing that, I wrote it off as, okay, maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe Star Wars wasn't really on the radio. Now I remember reading somewhere, probably Starlog or something, how they did the Star Wars commercials. There's some Star Wars trailers to the film. I played them before in some YouTube videos. It's audio commercials for the Star Wars film that would play on the radio. And I actually taught myself into thinking, okay, that's what I heard late at night. But I was like, no, it was longer than that. But you know how it is in your kid mind. You can lay there for 5 minutes and you swear to as a kid, you lay there for hours. So I didn't even know about that until probably the 90s. I started getting back into Star Wars, collecting the stuff and everything. And that's when I heard, wait, there's a Star Wars radio drama? I started asking around. I think it was that, Toy Shop, or one of those magazines where you could order, somebody made a copy of it. It's before they did get released later in the 90s on CD, but you could buy like a bootleg copy of it then. And I was on just like somebody's homemade cassette tape. And it was probably about 5 hours long before I got the first one. And I would bring it, I got it, listened to it, just like I was a kid again, laid in the bed, closed my eyes, watched Star Wars in my mind. Had deleted scenes in it too, though. That was cool. Had the whole big scene, if I remember correctly. Had all that. So that was really cool. Now, sadly, I didn't remember Empire Strikes Back as a kid. Like I said, I just found it one time on the radio, and I just kind of lost and forgot that memory of. So I didn't know to go look for the Star Wars. For the Empire Strikes Back. But then years later, they just sell it on CD, all 3 movies. And I did find it at a public library where I could rent the CD, and I listened to it in the car, listened to it at home. If you haven't really listened to those radio dramas, please do. They're on YouTube for free. I was going to do a reaction video to them, but they're all so long. They're like, they're not in parts. So the first one's like 5 hours. So you don't want to sit here and watch me listen to Star Wars radio drama for 5 hours. But I'm curious out there, you guys, did you know about the Star Wars radio drama? Did you ever listen to it as a kid, or did you discover it when you were older, maybe thanks to the internet or thanks to the CDs that got released? Because I really didn't hear anyone talk about it. I didn't hear anything about it throughout my whole childhood. My brother, who loved Star Wars as much as I did, we never talked about it. I just had this memory of laying in the bed, finding Star Wars on some random radio station, and then convincing myself maybe I dreamed it, or maybe it was just a commercial, Or there was it was on like UHF channel. I could tune in. I could get local television stations. The audio from them would come across the radio. So maybe I thought, well, maybe that's, maybe they're playing some clips of Star Wars. I talked myself out of believing there was a radio drama. But in the whole time in my head, I was like, no, I remember that. I remember the acting. I remember it was more than just a commercial. And I was happy to find out that, hey, I wasn't crazy. I didn't dream it. I did lay there and listen to what felt like hours. I really don't know how long I lay there. Probably 20, 30 minutes before I passed out. But it was amazing. I was like, it's just that little bit I heard grained in my brain how much I loved, that grained in, I can't talk. So excited talking about this. It grained in my head and put a memory in there that's kind of like the holiday special. I saw the holiday special, and it was always in the back of my head. Was there a Star Wars holiday special? Again, this is before the internet. You're like, what's that? And you start asking people. It's like, no, I don't remember that. Then somebody, my brother was like, it was a Christmas special. We called it a Christmas special. And it was always, do you remember? You couldn't remember much about it. You remember like the aliens. You remember somebody singing. You couldn't remember scene for scene. So, and then you find out, you find bootlegs of it. And you're like, there was a holiday special. I remember I bought that off the internet really early, probably 92, 93. Videotape that had it and all the commercials on it, and it just blew my mind, and the trailers, and blew my mind. But we're talking about the radio special here. Again, it just that memory ingrained in me, and I just want to know what you guys, did you know about it? Did you listen to it? Did you listen to them all? Did you get excited? Like, oh my God, the Star Wars radio drama is coming back. Or in the 90s when they finally completed it with Return of the Jedi, did you listen to that? Let me know all that, all your memories of it. Or if you don't know it, please check it out. It's on YouTube. Anyway, thank you for watching. We'll be back at 8 o'clock, most likely with Russ and Junkman Live. That's usually what we do every other Friday at 8 o'clock. I text Russ like 8 hours ago, and I was like, hey, we're doing Friday still? No reply back. Why don't anybody reply back? I don't understand. Everybody's got their phone in their pocket, but hey, Russ, timing you. So, I'll probably be a live stream. Hopefully Russ will be there. Guess that, we got a new shirt I'll tell you about right here. The Falcon Instruction shirt. Look at that. That's 2 new shirts this week at junkmanmerch.com. So make sure you check it out. And that one's on sale for $13. We got Spider shirt also. The Spider droid. Anyway, thank you for watching. We'll be back at 8 o'clock with a live video or just a normal video. Come back at 8 o'clock and see what we got. Thanks.
Hey, Junkman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.